of or what kinds of training are needed for the job in order to eliminate the performance or the problem performance. So, muna siya ang task analysis. Now, let's go to person analysis. Now, when we say person analysis, it entails the determining which employees need training by examining how well the employees are carrying out the tasks that make up their job. Now, training is often necessary when there is a discrepancy between a worker's performance and the organization's expectation or standard. So, human mo analyze sa task, imo na pud karong i-analyze ang tao para makibaw ka who are you going to send or who among your workers or employees are you going to send for training. So, mo bitaw ng in most organizations, we have this performance evaluation because that would be the basis whether or not these particular employees need enhancement or skill development or skill training. No? So, may hibaw-an man sa performance evaluation sa employee kung nagkinahanglan bisag training on this particular KSA, katong KSA. So, mahibaw-an ninyo diha. Now, the source of most performance rating is the supervisor. Kajud, sila man dyan mo rate sa mga employee. But, nanatay gitawag karon nga bagong evaluation tool that we call 360 evaluation, in which dili ra mo rely on the supervisor alone's rating. So, it composes now of the person itself. So, mo rate po ang person ni Ja. As a, si Ja mismo mo rate. And then the supervisor. And then one from the peer or kanang mga kauban ni Ja sa trabaho. So, mo na siya gitawag og 360 evaluation. Okay, para to eliminate, biases on the kanang supervisor. Hindi man dyan na tumali kaya naman dyan mga biases. Okay, let's go to clarifying the objectives of the training. Now, the objectives for the training program should be based on the assessment phase. Yung moment to ang, di ba, maot ang assessment phase man ang mo tell what type or what kind of training is necessary for this particular organization. Now, each objective should relate now to one or more of the KSA. So, after ka mo develop og set of objective, now that is the first one. Okay, from the assessment phase, ay naman ka maka-develop ng mga set of objectives. Now, these objectives should relate to the objectives. These objectives should relate to KSA. Diyan nata sa second. So, di ba, imong i-identify ang KSA para makahibaw ka unsa dapat nga training ang necessary para sa imong organization. So, the training, bawa na ka, mo ni, kanid ay nga mga KSA ang kinahanglan nga focusan on the training. So, your training objective should relate to the KSA. If not, your training is useless. Why are you conducting training that do not relate to the KSA when in fact it's the KSA that is necessary for the performance of this for this job in order to for the organization to be effective. So, dapat mo relate gayud siya sa KSA. It was the KSA that you're trying to develop or you're trying to enhance so that the performance problem would be eliminated. Okay? And then, wait sa, minum sa akong tubig ha. One thing to remember is that it would make a good business sense for organizations to focus training on the competencies based on the KSA that have been identified as being important to the job. Balik-balik ko dyan ang giingon ninyo. Important to the job and to the person itself. Para niya o para sa iyang trabaho. Kay, if there is no relevance link, sa pag-usa kanindot ang inyong training, it will not be effective on the audience or the employee that you are conducting the training to. Okay? And then let's go to the third one, which is state objective in behavioral terms. So whenever possible, objectives should be stated in behavioral terms, and the criteria for judging the training program effectiveness should flow directly from the behavioral objective. For example, suppose the cause of performance deficiency or problem is poor interpersonal sensitivity. Sumana siya ang naghangak si iko. Sumana siya ang performance problem. Poor interpersonal sensitivity. So the overall objective of the training program designed to solve this problem then would be to increase personal sensitivity. Unsa man di ay, di ba? So increasing interpersonal sensitivity is a noble training goal, but the term is ambiguous and does not lead to specific content. May yung kakaron. Increase interpersonal sensitivity. O saan na ni measurable din na siya. Realistic din siya, attainable din siya. Di man na ni mo ma-measure. How are you going to measure if the training is effective at the end of the training? Kung ang imong objective is increase interpersonal sensitivity. So, man yung pagkahibaw nga na-increase na din isang interpersonal sensitivity. Remember that this is behavioral term. Diba? So, what are you going to do? Dire na. Create specific objectives. So, you're going to break down the broad or the ambiguous training goal into specific content or specific objective. No? So, mo na dire. Mo na ni. So, your overall objective is increase interpersonal sensitivity. Your specific content or dimensions are, first one is listening skill and the feedback skills. Because if the employees has this listening skills and they were also able to feedback, no, dili ra enough nga kabaw sila mo unsam nang listen. Oy, di mo ko kayo. Kabaw sila mamati. They should also be able to feedback. Kaya kung di sila mo feedback, nga sila pamati nga problema and then they were not able to feed it back, how are you going to rectify that problem? So, importante dyan. So, mayroong kakarog, increase interpersonal sensitivity. So, ang specific content niya or specific objective niya is to increase listening skill and the feedback skill or develop the listening and feedback skills. So, also may example behavioral objectives. Number 1, supervisor summarizes key points of action plan at the end of discussion. Number 2, supervisor does not interrupt the speech of others. Number 3, supervisor provides an estimate of how long before a request can be filled. And then for feedback skills, supervisor describes the issue in concrete terms. Number 2, supervisor attacks the problem, not the performer. Kumodyo ni problema na to always. We tend to attack the performer, not the problem. Supervisor provides feedback in a timely fashion. I think this is all self-explanatory, no? So, muna siya, no? How to clarify the training objectives. Okay. Let's go to training and conduct phase. Now, the training program that results from assessment should be a direct response to an organizational problem or need. Training approaches vary by location, presentation, and type. So, let's start with the location options. Now, training can be carried out either on the job or off the job. Okay? So, in a very common on-the-job training, now, the trainee works in the actual work setting. So, usually under the guidance of an experienced worker, supervisor, or trainer. So, sa unang panahon, huwag man uso sa kanang estudyante. When I was a student or college student, di ay nakabot po kong OJT. Uy, grabe, ang tigwangan sa inaho. Sa mga sauna pagajod, di pa uso ng OJT. di pa may ang sana di pa para karon ba nga i-adto kag mga organizations nga kanang mura pug true nga pina-uniform churba why uso ingana sa unang panahon. It's plainly classroom teachings, case analysis, and then voila, iadto na mo sa mo graduate mo, mangita mong trabaho mo, na mura mo ka na adto na mo sa inyong trabaho trainingon, no? Ang organization na karon ang mo shoulder sa inyong training, but karon nga educational system lahi na kay naa nag-incorporate na ang OJT. So naa na tay OJT even when we are yet a student. So kung may kag OJT naa na siya sa actual workplace but supervised by an experienced worker or supervisor, or we call them trainer. So kay bawo na mo unsay OJT uy kay makasuway mo actually. So under the OJT, no, we have job rotation, apprentices, di na makatugo mo. Apprenticeships and internships. So, mo na gitawag na to, murag lain-lain na nga kanang term ba nga gamit, but that falls on the job training. So, mo na siya. So, on job rotation, so, in this OJT, nga job rotation, it allows employees to gain experience in different kinds of narrowly defined jobs in the organization. Now, it is often used to give future managers a broad background. So, kung kag job rotation, bang, for example, karon nga week, ari ka sa finance. So, you will have an idea what happens in this particular department. Unsa ilang trabahoon din what are the nature of the job in this particular department. And then in another month or week adto na pud ka sa sa department, marketing department na pud ka para makahibaw pud ka unsa puy ginabuhat nila dinhi, what are the contribution of this department for the overall organizational goal. And then sunod na pud ng week lain na pud nga department hantod mahurot na nimo og libot ang tanang department. Now this this type of OJT is used, no, to give future managers. Wala kay ba kay ikaw nga gi OJT dira mahimo di kang manager. So at least now you have a broad background unsa ay functions and in different departments in one organization. So job rotation is really important because it would make, no, it would allow a particular employee to gain knowledge, additional skills. Ay sa finance kay ngani undi ay man mo ni makaton na ka for the entire 3 months nga naa ka diha, di ba? Makaton ga jud ka 3 months pud nga naa ka diri sa marketing, makaton pud ka sa ilang mga strategies.